Yo, what's going on, everybody? Keep Moments in full color, and today we're doing our Bayonetta 3 review. This will not be done the sexy way. I started to feel a little off, and I didn't want to have to kind of keep re-recording to gather myself, so we'll just do this one the regular way. Apologies to anyone who was looking forward to some some shenanigans on my end, but we're just gonna do this one the regular way. Just to start off with, I think Bayonetta 3 is a really good game. It does have some missteps and it does have some blemishes to it. And with this came two kind of feelings off of this. On one hand, it's like, man, there were some missteps here. We wish Bayonetta would have just came to us a little bit better. But on the other hand, it's been so long since we've got a Bayonetta game that I think we're just happy that we have a Bayonetta game. So, without further ado, I think the first thing I want to touch on is the voice, or the sound in general, just because that was kind of like the big thing coming into this. The original voice actor had her gripes with this game. How does a new voice actor stand up? She did a really great job. She had all the elements that we've known Bayonetta and loved her for. Her confidence, her sexiness, her elegance, her nice, well put puns. She did a really good job through and through on delivering that character. That those type of characters I feel like are very hard. They come with a lot of character. They have a lot of charisma, and you need to portray that with your voice and like really give that to the gamer, really infect them with your voice. And I think she did a fantastic job at getting that done. And the supporting cast also did a really good job at conveying emotion. This probably is the more emotional game of them, given the story. And I guess going from there, if you've never played a Bayonetta game, you do need the other two to pretty much understand everything in the game. There's a lot of terminology, a lot of different things being thrown at you. You could play this and pick up on what is happening, but I think that you would be better off playing 1 and 2 to get down the terminology, to understand things like currencies and things in the world that aren't exactly normal, so that when you do hear about it, when they do talk about hell and heaven, how are those entities portrayed within this series? Like, what are the different? There are some differences versus other series or other things that you're used to. So again, I would play 1 and 2 just to get up to speed on the world itself. But hey, you could just jump into this if you really wanted to. The story is not bad, it's solid. It's one of those things that where I praised Devil May Cry 5 because I felt that the story was, it really wasn't leading anywhere. It was like adventure-y and campy, which was cool, but was hoping that it really was funneling to something. I felt like 5 took everything and started to funnel that story, and it started to channel it into something. There's something going on, and they started to kind of leave breadcrumbs to it. With Bayonetta 3, it's more and more like, yeah, I'm hoping that they get to that point with Bayonetta 4. But for right now, this just felt like another Bayonetta adventure, and we'll see where things go from here. Now we get to the visual aspect, and here is where I begin my statement of Bayonetta really needs to come off the Nintendo, or something needs to be done to help the Nintendo run this game better. Visually, it's not bad, but it could be so much better. When you look at the game, you're like, man, there's so much, like, it could be so much more. When we play other games, you look at games like Forspoken and games like that, you're like, man, your Bayonetta could look like this, and it would look fantastic. Her character model, like, this is not to sound weird or anything like that, but she's a good character model. Like, it could look so much better. And everything that Bayonetta is, she is, a showman. She is very much so into just, being flashy and all that. For the game to not have the type of fidelity, I think there's a level of fidelity that Bayonetta is owed, and maybe that just cannot be accomplished on the Switch. In fact, I will go a step further and say I know it can't be accomplished on the Switch after playing, and I'll explain some more of that when we get into our gameplay section. But overall, I mean, the game does not look bad. We have some bigger areas than in the previous two, but with that being said, those areas you can tell or have a little bit of fluff in there. Like, some of those areas, although they're bigger, some of the textures really aren't the best, and you could just tell some of those things are in there just to take up space, nothing more, nothing less. They're not really meant to be looked at. I think they put them in areas where they fall by the wayside and hope that you as a player never go approach them to like really look at them. And those visuals, bleed over into the gameplay itself. And first and foremost, the gameplay is fun. Like, it's cool. I will say, if you play this game, do it docked. I played it undocked to start with, just to kind of get like an initial feeling. And that initial feeling was like, okay, this isn't too bad. The game tries to target 60 frames a second, and when it's undocked, I will tell you it's like a 60-40 split. 60% of the time, it might be at 60 frames. The only reason why I say it might be is because it drops so much and has stutter frames so much when undocked that I felt like maybe the game when the game smoothed out, it just looked better. So maybe it wasn't even hitting 60 the whole time. You know, maybe it got to like 45 or 50, but it was so much better than those stutter frames that I was hitting that my eyes are just like, okay, this is a much better thing. But undocked is not the way it go, and not only does it drop frames quite frequently, I believe Digital Foundry said it only is at about a 400p resolution or something like that. When you dock it, you will notice a difference. Like, it is night and day difference. I don't think I've had this with any game I've played on my Switch in this drastic level. I think when they said it goes from 400p, it jumps up to like 810p while docked. That 60 frame per second issue still happens, but where we go from 60% of the time it holds to 40% of the time it drops, I would say it goes to about 75-25. However, one moment that will cause this to happen is when you have your Godzilla fights. It's a tad bit of a spoiler, but sometimes you have what I call the Godzilla fights, and you know, big demons or big angels. You're fighting them, they're just huge, and you have the ability to summon a big familiar of your own. When you go to do that, you have these two big monsters fighting each other. It just, the frames do drop. You do lose some quality and visual fidelity, and the camera angles do suck in some of these arenas because they're so huge. I don't know, maybe they didn't want to zoom the camera out for some of these fights because then Bayonetta would look small. I don't know what it is, but the camera angles at times do suck with some of these really big fights and you trying to figure it out. I started playing off, like I said, I played it undocked with my Joy-Con, and that was cool. I do highly recommend if you have another controller to use that. There's a lot of quick time events. Mash this, move left and right on the analog sticks and stuff like that. And the Joy-Con just sometimes for my hands feel a little like I might break it or something. So if you have like a pro controller or something like that for your Switch, this is definitely the time to use that. Now I know I just really killed the visuals here and there. Don't get me wrong, when this game is shining, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous. But like much what I said about the Final Fantasy VII Remake when that first launched, when you have messed up looking textures or messed up looking things, it's just an eyesore and it's gonna stand out. And pretty much that's what this game suffers from. It stands out because your game runs very smooth at points, and then at other points you can definitely tell you just lose quality. However, outside of that, the game feels great. Bayonetta's ability to move around the map, she has a lot of movement tools which feel great. They feel awesome. I love when you can transform into the beast and roam around. That's what I call that format. It's the weapon that has like the big 50 cal sniper on it, but also she could use it as a melee weapon. And it's nuts. I mean, that kind of speaks to Bayonetta's arsenal. Her toolkit is just absolutely nuts. I loved it, everything about it. It felt the combos were great. Like, this game has so many, and this is why I say it needs to come off the Switch. Everything like bare bones about this is really fire. The combos are fire. The flashiness is fire. Her character is fire. Like, she is sex. She is elegance. She is bravado. All that stuff, confidence, everything that you like in a main character, and that type of main character. She's not broody at all. She's so out there with it, and so she'll let you know, like, hey, listen, like, I'm a fun time, but also I'll fuck you up. And that type of character, I feel like, just deserves this level of care. And not only that, she has good allies. Like, everything about this game and this franchise has a really good surrounding to it. I just really think that it just needs to come off the Switch to truly shine. So to wrap things up, Bayonetta 3 is a really good game. I really like the game. I felt that the scoring in Valkyrie Elysium was super forgiving. I was getting A's and S's without really trying. Whereas here, they definitely make you work to get that pure platinum, and even the golds. Like, if you mess up even a little bit with your combos, with your perfect dodges and things of that nature, if you don't combo enough, like, the game will penalize you for it. So it has this really addictive replay value. Oh man, I did not really do well in that section. I want to go back. I got a gold that, or I got a platinum that, whatever it is that you're shooting for, giving you something to work towards. It took me about 13 hours to beat this game, and I didn't find everything. There are a lot of collectibles around, which also add into the replay value. But my Switch games, I normally don't try to 100%. And this one, to be honest with you, just due to kind of some of that quality of life issues and whatnot, it made me not want to go through all of that just to go 100% it. I definitely would say Bayonetta 3, as much as I like this game, definitely will wait for it to get marked down. If you're a big fan of the series, though, I'm sure you already got it. And if you were just on the fence about it, yeah, I would wait for it to get marked down for sure. But we know Nintendo doesn't typically mark down that much. So maybe you'll get lucky, maybe not. But if you find someone on like a Mercari or something like that selling this game, I think that would be a good way to get this game, experience it, and then resell it yourself. With that being said, hope you all enjoyed this review and that it was helpful to you. Be sure to stay tuned because God of War is upon us, and now that I've cleared the dockets and the books, I'm definitely pouring my heart and soul into that, and probably will give you a more extended, in-depth review that might be about the same length as the Star Ocean one, as the games I truly enjoy. I try to give you a little bit more on. But that's going to do it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. As usual, hit the notification and subscription button so you can check out that God of War review when it drops. And as usual, peace, be easy, be blessed.